Culture can be a very complicated word to define, but when we're talking in reference to the communicative aspects of it, an article from the University of Minnesota titled Foundations of Culture and Identity identifies culture as the ongoing negotiation of learned and patterned beliefs, attitudes, values, and behaviors.
POV, it's India Eve, approximately 21:10. For those of you who don't know, that's 9:10. Yeah. Wow, look at you. Good night.
An article titled How the World Influences Our Beliefs and Behavior by Victoria Wilson discusses cultural conditioning as a process through which we absorb and interpret the influences, norms, and messaging from our environment and translate them into what we believe to be acceptable behaviors. There are certain norms and values that are common across entire countries, but oftentimes individual cities, boroughs, and/or neighborhoods usually adopt a nuanced set of cultural beliefs. In order to communicate with somebody effectively, whether it's interpersonally or interculturally, we must strive to maintain a collective mindset rather than individualistic. In other words, we're all in this together. We must remember that it is a learning process.
I guess quick recap of India. India was like insane. It was one of the most absolutely nuts experiences I've ever had. And it was beautiful and like shocking and very eye-opening. And I would say I learned a lot. I think if I went back, I would do it very differently. We went to an elephant sanctuary that like just didn't really feel right, and I wish we weren't contributing to that.
We're kind of like flowers in that we're all vastly different, but we all share the sun to survive. And no matter where you are, we're all looking at the same sun, so that's a nice thing to keep in mind.
I love to collaborate and just share my passion for creating things with people. In one of our first couple of countries, we were in Kenya, in Mombasa, and it was the last day, and my friends and I were trying to find somewhere to play soccer, but we couldn't find a soccer field. And we were walking by this school, and the principal came outside and invited us to come hang out with the kids while they had free time. It was me, my friend Paige. I'm used to little kids wanting to just grab and play with the camera and stuff. But there were 2 or 3 kids, one Ermos, I remember, that were just so eager and curious to learn. We were just asking each other questions. I was 5 minutes into asking this one boy questions when I thought he was just shy, and then his friend was saying, he doesn't really speak very good English. It was an amazing thing to be able to share what I love to do, even though we can't really communicate that well through language, but I can show you on the camera. That's one of my favorite memories from my entire experience.
Where have you coming from? Where?
For the answer, then you put it to me. You could still hold it like that, like a newscast. Or I am from the United States of America, and I live in New York.
Wow, I like that country. Which kind of transport did you use?
Transport?
Yeah.
To get here? That's a great question, because I came here on a big ship. We came from India and sailed across the ocean.
We must open our minds to the idea that what makes us most uncomfortable often leads to our greatest things.
It's our last day in Africa, and I'm very, very sad about it. I had such a good time here.
We will remember you. I will not forget you. You are so funny.
Oh, thank you very much. A big thing for me was when I looked at a map, I would think of the whole other side of the ocean, Europe, Asia, Africa, as just one thing. It's just everything over there. And now when I look at a map, I see that side and I have a vivid memory of a meal or a person in every place. It is an indescribable feeling to have a connection and feel like there's pieces of my life in so many parts of the world.
We have to remember that nothing has to be, even though that's what we're taught to believe. We must keep a mindset of we, not us versus them or me versus you. And the best way to learn is by doing. So we have to observe, ask questions, reflect, and then attempt to put into action.
Just soaking up the sun.